Hello everyone, I'm Ania for Fiber by India today and welcome to another battery drain test video. This comparison is between two of the top smartphone manufacturers in India fighting for the best affordable device title. This is Samsung Galaxy M35 versus OnePlus Nord C4 Lite. First up, the key highlights of both phones on your screens right now. So both phones are pretty evenly matched in terms of hardware. Of course, the Galaxy M35 has the better Gorilla Glass protection while the Nord C4 Lite has an official splash resistance rating. In terms of software support, the Galaxy M35 supports up to 5 years of software updates, although it remains to be seen how would the hardware hold up in the next 5 years. Moving on, the M35 has the Exynos 1380 chip while the Nord has the Snapdragon 695 chip. The Galaxy M35 does have the bigger 6000 mAh battery, but the Nord has faster 80-watt charging. The Galaxy M35 also gets an additional ultra-wide-angle camera, making 3 rear lenses versus 2 on the Nord C4 Lite. So the million-dollar question is, which among the two is the better one when it comes to battery life and endurance? Now, before we go any further in this video, consider hitting that red subscribe button for detailed tech videos and also turn on the bell so that you don't miss any of our latest updates. With that said, let's get started. As always, we kick off by booting up both devices and the Galaxy M35 starts up first while the Nord C4 Lite takes its own sweet time. So, both phones on the table have dark mode enabled and are connected to the same Wi-Fi network. The brightness and audio are set at 50%, vivid color profile is set, 120Hz auto mode is enabled, and of course, both the phones' batteries are at 100%. We start with the 2-hour YouTube video playback, and right off the bat, it is pretty evident that the Galaxy M35 has a more visually appealing display with rich color reproduction and deeper contrast. Now, I have to point out that the Nord C4 Lite has the better brightness numbers on papers, that is at 1200 nits versus 1000 nits on the Samsung in a high brightness mode. However, despite that, in most situations that I tested the phones in auto mode or just like right now with manual brightness, the Galaxy M35 was always brighter. Of course, the Nord C4 Lite solves one of the biggest pain points of the Nord C3 Lite, that is now having an AMOLED display that is brighter than the outgoing LCD one on the C3 Lite. But compared to the Galaxy M35's display side by side, at least in terms of how the content looks, how colors pop and all that stuff, the Galaxy M35 does have the better panel. Now, as good as it looks, is it as efficient too? So we are done with the 2 hours of YouTube video playback, and right now both the phones are tied with 90% battery left, although if I do the math, then the Galaxy M35 did drain 50 mAh battery more than the Nord C4 Lite. Now, more on this later. With that, it is now time to run an hour of 1080p video recording, and while both phones are at it, here's a look at the camera specs of both devices. The Samsung Galaxy M35 has a triple rear camera system featuring a 50 megapixel primary lens paired with an 8 megapixel ultra wide angle lens, a 2 megapixel macro lens, and a 13 megapixel selfie snapper. Video recording capabilities are capped at 4K 30 FPS for both the front and rear cameras. On the other hand, the Nord C4 Lite has a dual rear camera system featuring a 50 megapixel primary camera along with a 2 megapixel depth sensor and a 16 megapixel selfie snapper. In terms of video recording, the rear camera and the front camera both support only up to 1080p 30 FPS recording. Now, here are some of the comparison photos of the Galaxy M35 and the Nord C4 Lite side by side. Let me know in the comments which phone you think took the better shots. Now, while I haven't compared both the phones' cameras directly, one thing is for sure that after using the Galaxy M35 for a few days, the camera performance both in terms of stills and video recording is much better than the Nord C4 Lite. Rest, let me know your thoughts as well. With that, we are done with the 1080p video recording round, and right now the Galaxy M35 has taken the lead with 81% battery left while the Nord C4 Lite is left with 78% battery. Alrighty, it is now time to run some benchmarks to get an idea if both phones are put under heavy load in the real world, which one is going to give the better endurance. First up, the specs. The Galaxy M35 is powered by the 5nm Exynos 1380 SoC coupled with up to 8GB RAM and up to 256GB storage. The Nord C4 Lite, on the other hand, is powered by the 6nm Snapdragon 695 SoC coupled with up to 8GB RAM and up to 256GB storage. So testing the raw compute power of both phones in Geekbench 6, the Galaxy M35 with the Exynos 1380 takes the lead with a good margin over the Nord C4 Lite. in Antutu as well. While the Note C4 Lite finishes first with about 4.9 lakhs score, the Galaxy M35 registers a good 6.14 lakhs. The individual GPU score is also much better on the M35 with a difference of about 52,000 from the Note C4 Lite. In the 3D Mark stress test, while both phones scored a solid stability of 99%, the loop scores of the Galaxy M35 are almost double than that of the Note C4 Lite. Finally, in the CPU throttle test, the Galaxy M35 once again scored better, although slightly, than the Note C4 Lite. So here are the benchmark scores of both phones on your screens right now. You can pause and take a look. So a total of 4 hours have gone into the testing, and now the Note C4 Lite has taken the lead with 68% battery left, while the Galaxy M35 is now trailing with 65% battery left. So now let's talk performance as we are in the gaming round, and while the Galaxy M35 with its Exynos 1380 chip did have better benchmark scores over the Snapdragon 695 powered Note C4 Lite, the real world performance of both phones is still more or less the same. I think the choice boils down to the user experience. Do you prefer OnePlus's Oxygen OS or Samsung's One UI? If you ask me, both are pretty feature-loaded Android ROMs, and at the same time both have a ton of bloatware too, which thankfully you can uninstall. But yes, I think One UI 6.1 with its long software support does give that better overall experience. Even in terms of features such as Samsung Wallet, a secure folder, contactless payments, and Knox security, the Galaxy M35 offers a better overall package and experience. Now, gaming-wise, both aren't your typical gaming phones, but for light gaming sessions, both suffice. Heck, for folks who aren't hardcore BGMI or Call of Duty mobile players, but they play the game on a casual basis, well, there's 60 FPS gaming support on both, so casual gaming sessions are pretty much sorted with both devices. Alright, once again the tides have turned, and this time around after the gaming round, the Galaxy M35 has once again taken the lead with 58% battery left, and the Note C4 Lite is now left with 53% battery. With that, we're in the last leg of our battery drain test comparison. I will now run an hour of Instagram on both phones here, but without keeping you waiting until the last minute, I'm going to fast forward to the 6-hour mark, and with that, the Galaxy M35 finishes with 51% battery left, while the Note C4 Lite finishes with 46% battery left. So here's an hour by hour breakdown of the battery drain of both phones on your screens right now, and going by the numbers, both phones performed admirably. Of course, big batteries translated into solid endurance numbers. Now, Samsung did drain less battery if you look percentage wise, but in terms of actual drain, both phones drained about 3000 mAh, which again is pretty solid and just shows that you will get guaranteed 1.5 to 2 days of battery life with ease from both devices. Of course, if we take out the benchmarks round where the Samsung drained more battery than the OnePlus, in that case the lead would have been greater on the Galaxy M35. Long story short, both phones are absolute battery champs, but the 500 mAh bigger battery on the Galaxy M35 does give it a clear advantage in terms of more endurance, plus for the overall experience too, for the better software, the practically brighter display, and no doubt the much better camera performance, the Galaxy M35 does seem to be the better choice. Rest, what are your thoughts about this battery drain test video? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments below, and as always, for all the latest in tech, stay tuned to Fiber. I will catch you all in the next one. Thank you for watching.